Hey, welcome back. We got Jeffrey Fox in the house.
I'm glad to be back.
It's nice to see you. It is very, very nice to see you.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. Hey, like I like to say, and I get it from that movie, Office Space, the pleasure is all on this side of the table. Yep. So, yeah, I told you I had a nasty fall over the weekend.
That's what you're saying.
Yep. I can't believe it. I've been having a great time skateboarding with the kids, and this past weekend, though, I fell. Thankfully, I was wearing a helmet, and for the first time in my life, I blacked out.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then, I got, my shoulder was hurt, my butt, you know.
I'm sure you're trying to do a double backflip or something awesome, right?
I think I was just trying to get on the skateboard. Yeah, and I fell really hard, and what's it called? Like I said, first time in my life I ever blacked out. I got up, and I was dizzy. There's, people around me. Then my wife took me to the ER. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I had a CAT scan for the first time ever, and thankfully there was nothing serious other than the concussion. So
Other than the concussion.
yeah. But one thing, one reason why I want to mention it here, it's so important to wear a helmet. You know, I see so many kids riding around bike and scooters, and nowadays, these electric scooters that go really fast without helmets.
Absolutely.
You know,
I mean, I think that was one thing that I was good about as a kid is I did wear helmets. I did a lot of stupid stuff on vehicles, like on bikes and skateboards and rollerblades and motorcycles, all kinds of stuff. But I was good about wearing a helmet.
Oh,
and so,
good.
So luckily my thousands of falls didn't end up in anything too permanent.
Okay. 1,000 falls.
Some broken bones, some things like that, but never any.
But never something serious?
No brain damage.
Thank God. Okay. Well, let's keep it that way.
That I remember.
Knock on wood. Knock on wood. Let's keep it that way. So today, a somewhat controversial figure, Elon Musk, and a couple of lawsuits. One big one against him. I don't know why. People either love this guy or really hate this guy.
Yeah, for sure. He's very polarizing.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, maybe there's people like me. I'm kind of moderate. I don't love him or hate him. I don't know.
I'm probably in your camp. Yeah, like we're the weirdos that don't have strong feelings towards Elon Musk.
Right. And when someone makes fun of him, it's like I kind of whatever.
It's like, yeah, that's funny.
Cool. And then when someone praises him, I'm like, all right, I don't know. Maybe he deserves something. Who knows?
Yeah, for sure.
So I mean, it might be the lawyer part in me that I read the lawsuit and I try to take it objectively,
right?
Unless I'm representing someone.
Yeah.
But I do like to start with a couple of interesting facts about Elon Musk. Maybe some people don't know. So after he was born in South Africa in 1971. His dad was, and I have to look up what this is, an electromechanical engineer. Okay, not a mechanical engineer, not electrical engineer,
electromechanical.
Yeah, and their family at one point had a half interest in a emerald mine in Zambia.
Huh. Okay.
Maybe that's where Elon Musk gets some of his interest in these expensive metals that you have to dig out in Africa,
right? Yeah,
things like that.
For sure.
His dad, his parents got divorced, and he has stayed with his dad. He chose to because he was old enough to decide, and that was something he said later. I regret that because my dad is an a-hole.
Oh,
yeah, it was kind of a crazy thing to say. Then he went to Canada because his mom is Canadian, and he went to Canada, and from Canada, then he ended up going to college at University of Pennsylvania, then went to Silicon Valley. And that's where it all started.
Yeah.
Once you get to the Bay Area.
Yeah.
He did get accepted to Stanford to get a PhD, but then when he started, he's like, no, I'd rather make money than.
For sure. Yeah. He's I'm already making good money.
Than have to pay money.
Yeah. That's fair.
So
learn on the job, I guess.
Yeah, learn on the job. He did not start PayPal. He started a company called X.com. That's a good domain name.
That's
X.com,
a great domain.
Right? And basically, it was an online banking kind of thing, kind of like PayPal.
Yeah.
And then what happened is they merged with the company that started PayPal. Okay. And it was called something else, but PayPal was their best service.
Okay.
Yeah. And then ultimate trivia: who bought PayPal for a lot of money?
Who bought PayPal?
It was bid. You bid for things online?
Yeah. Oh, eBay.
Yeah.
eBay bought PayPal.
Yeah.
That's exactly
because by then Elon Musk had 11%, and eBay purchased for $1.5 billion. So that's when Elon Musk made about
chunk
he made about
change.
$160, $170 million in that purchase. And then, here's one unknown fact. He almost died of malaria in the he was about 30 or 29 or something. He took a trip to South Africa and he got malaria.
Oh wow.
Thankfully he lived.
Yeah.
Tesla was also not started by Elon Musk. So Tesla was started by a couple of engineers in the Silicon Valley, and their goal was to make electric cars, right? And they started it the year 2003. In 2004, Elon Musk found out about these guys, and he invested about $6 million, $6.5 million to be exact, $6.5 million to be exact. And that was an initial investment, like very, very early on.
Right.
So obviously that became worth billions, right?
Yeah.
And then he didn't just invest, but he obviously was very active in the company,
Right.
And things like that. And he brought, ideas to the company, the Roadster car. Didn't you back then, a long time ago, you went to Silicon Valley and you saw these awesome Teslas before they were even popular?
Yeah, it was
or at least popular here.
It was such a weird experience because I went to the Apple headquarters and there was, I think, 5 or 6 Tesla Roadsters all lined up. Like they were all backed into parking spots right in the front of Apple, like the front 5 parking spots. Like, okay, so these must be some real high level executives, that get to park right in the front of the building kind of thing.
Right.
And I saw the logo and I was like, I don't know what this is. I Googled it while I was sitting there, like looking at these cars. I was like, what the hell is this? I was like, what's this Roadster that has like a big T on the front, and that was the first, and it was a full 10 years before I saw like Teslas become popular, where they had their sedan come out, like all that kind of stuff. Like it was a full 10 years early. It was crazy.
Yes, that is crazy. And clearly it was a successful venture, the Roadsters, and moving on. Elon Musk, he has an interesting personality, to say the least. He has all these ideas, like
very eccentric.
Yeah, the SpaceX about going to other planets and being able to humanity to survive on other planets, and then he also started this one company, Neuralink. This idea of a machine or people's brains controlling machines.
Right.
Kind of, you know what I'm saying? Instead of having to do something with your hand or whatever, just controlling it with your brain.
Yeah, I remember when I was learning about like when they're first doing Neuralink and I was hearing the pitch, and it's basically like computers are really fast and humans are really fast, but humans talking to computers is really slow. We have to type through a keyboard. Like that's how we think about how fast one can communicate with each other. We can do gestures. We can do so much. You can see like facial expressions. There's so much more than just the letters coming out of our mouth, like when we communicate. And of course, when you have multiple sensory inputs coming into you. So it's like, being able to, when we're communicating, we can be quick. When computers communicate, they can be quick. But when we're talking to computers, we're slow.
I got you.
And so he's like, well, that's where I'm going to try to invent something that bridges that gap, where we can communicate with computers as quickly or quicker than we can communicate, with each other.
Yeah. And people, like if they're, on a wheelchair bound or something, it's like they could just control where they're going or how they get there and everything. And you could control something on the other side of the room. And or the best is, for some crazy reason, every time I go to sleep, that is the best time for me to start remembering things that I need to do. Same with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I have a choice. Do I get up and write it down or do I just imagine remembering it the next day?
Right. And then of course, I always go with the second option, and then it's hard for me to sleep, because it's like, it probably would have been better for me in the long run to just get up and write it down. But
there was a comedian, as you know, comedy. I love comedy, right? The late Mitch Hedberg. Okay.
Mitch,
so he made this joke that said, like, sometimes like at night, he'll think of a funny joke and then he'll go to write it down, but then he's too lazy. So then he decides, he makes himself think it's not that funny anyway. So, he doesn't have to go write it down.
For sure.
Anyhow, okay. But that came with some, this Neuralink and this idea of the brain to computer, it comes with a price. So they somehow gave a couple $1 million. I don't know the exact amount, but it was in that range, $1.5 million, $2.5 million, or somewhere in between, to the University of California at Davis to start this process and work it out on monkeys.
Okay.
Yeah, and one of this was a weird lawsuit. They would get these monkeys. They got like 23 monkeys, and with some of them they did a craniotomy, okay, which is it's normally dissecting the brain of some sort of, like a dead person or dead animal. They were doing it on live monkeys, or at least that's the allegation of this lawsuit. And they were doing these other things with these little like monkeys, and a lot of them died, right? A majority of them died. And these doctors who got wind of everything, they sued UC Davis over this.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty sad. That did not make me happy about this Neuralink.
Yeah.
Killing these monkeys
For sure.
I think every company, if they're going to do animal testing, it should be more known.
Right. For sure.
Like
let it like be very public.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things, they're not necessarily suing for money because it's not like they were hurt, these doctors. Right. They're suing also to get like more details of the examinations and photographs of what happened, and things like that. And the university is, doesn't want to release all that.
Naturally.
Right. Yeah. So that was one, kind of an interesting tidbit. Elon Musk and Tesla then, or the ownership group, the management group said, well, the monkeys did die. They admitted the monkeys died, but then they said, and I love this quote, but they died humanely.
Okay.
During the studies.
Right.
So then the topic for today, the Solar City lawsuit. Okay, now this one, Elon Musk is getting sued for billions of dollars.
Wonderful.
I know. Yeah. Oh, now you're mad at him about this monkey.
Mad at him for the monkeys.
Yeah. He's getting sued. Okay, for the monkeys. No. Okay. So this Solar City one is kind of a big deal, and this could cost him a few $1 billion, which I'm thinking even for someone that's still a lot of money.
Oh yeah, I would assume so.
Couple $1 billion, even though he's worth a lot. So okay, so like I said, in 2004 he invested in Tesla. Then in 2006 he started Solar City. He co-founded it with. Is it co-founded or co-found?
I say co-founded, but that's probably wrong.
All right, I don't know. He co-founded with his brother. Yeah, I think it is co-founded. He co-founded with his brother and his and like two cousins. Okay, so it was kind of like a family endeavor. They started Solar City in 2006, and they went public in 2012. And since then, since they were bought by Tesla, they never made a profit. Like every year, they did not make a profit that whole year. And this is where the lawsuit gets very, very interesting. And this lawsuit has been going on for years. Lawyers like us. It's like a very simple issue that takes years to resolve.
Of course, love it? Naturally.
Years and millions of dollars of litigation to resolve.
Yeah.
Okay. So so it went public in 2012. Now keep in mind, Elon Musk is a big owner of Solar City, and his family members are all owners, big owners of Solar City. Okay, and then they sold shares, in a public offering, that type of thing. Now by 2016, they had never made a profit. They were like $3 billion in debt. Okay, and they were having problems, liquidity problems, meaning they couldn't borrow more, and a lot of the debt was coming due right away. And there was a fear that they were insolvent. Insolvent.
I mean, basically, like not going to work out. Kind of, it's like a
broke. Yeah.
Broke is a good way.
I only know insolvent is broke as heck.
Yeah.
But there is a chemical term for like a solvent. If something is solvent, like it could dissolve. I don't know.
It dissolves things.
Yeah, something like that. It's a solvent, you know?
Soluble means dissolves in or something.
Right, yeah. But I only know the legal term. So solvent is someone that's got money. Insolvent means they don't got money.
No money.
You like that grammar? Right. They don't got money.
They don't got money.
They don't got money. Yeah. So there was this fear that Solar City by 2016, they were insolvent. That's the bad one of the solvent insolvent. Okay. And so in 2016, they had cut their workforce by like 1/5, and they were $3 billion in debt, and they weren't making a profit. In fact, in 2015 and 2016, it was something like they lost $1.5 billion. So they're making negative. They're in the negative,
losing money quickly.
Yes. And And as I know, I've represented a lot of people that have had companies that were in the negative year after year. They end up going bankrupt. Yeah, exactly. So somehow Tesla in 2016 purchased SolarCity for $2.5 billion. I think 2.6 to be exact. So let's say $2.5 billion. So they purchased SolarCity and the debt.
Right.
So you got to add that up, the 2.5 billion and the debt and everything. So it was, it was a big purchase, like a big purchase. In fact, Tesla shares went down like 10%, something like that, when they made this purchase, because everyone knew what the heck is they bought a insolvent company, right? So there have been now lawsuits over this because the Tesla shareholders, it's this thing called derivative action, which is as shareholders of a company could say, hey, our shares went down because of what Elon Musk did. And he has a fiduciary obligation to help us out. And so they could sue, but it's like a weird procedure. It's like they sue him, but they bring the lawsuit as if they're the corporation suing him as the manager to get money back.
Because technically the shareholders are the owners of the company.
Yes.
And so I don't know what Elon's ownership percent in Tesla is.
It's like 22%.
Okay, so I mean he's probably the biggest shareholder,
he's the biggest shareholder,
but he doesn't own as much as all the other shareholders combined, so they can outvote him. They can,
Exactly. And the beauty with this is that they don't need a majority of the shareholders to bring a derivative action. There could only be like a few of them, but they could be certified as a class, and then they could represent, everyone. And then if there's a judgment, it could depend. It goes back to either the shareholders that own shares at the time, or it just goes, he has to pay it into the company, which is good. If he pays it to the company, then theoretically, then the company's worth more because it gets a payment from him. Right. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So this is where this multi-billion-dollar lawsuit kind of originated.
Yes.
All right. And they have tried to get it thrown out of court, and Elon Musk has tried, and he has not, gotten it thrown out of court, which is a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here's the disputes. Okay. The shareholders are saying that, Elon Musk owned a big chunk of SolarCity. So by having Tesla purchase it, he made money that way. Elon Musk says, well, I owned about the same shares in both.
Right.
Okay. But financially, if you have one company that completely goes under, if the other company, if you could use some money from that other company to make sure it doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It covers it type of thing, right? The other thing is that in that other company, it was his family that co-founded.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing a lot of words to me that sound like conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Is that going to, obviously not, I don't want to steal your thunder, but.
No. My thunder is never stolen.
I was like, but that's kind of what it's sounding like is like, and I guess like one thing that I'd be wondering is if there weren't any conflicts, and it was just he made a decision as a business, as like the CEO, would he be liable for it personally, or is it the conflict that makes it like personal?
Here's okay,
because that's, you know what I mean, like that's like, I wonder if it wasn't his family's company, he just bought a bad company, like thinking like, oh no, it's a good idea, but it's not a good idea,
right? Here's how I like to explain that. It's basically the rule is if you made a bad business decision like that wasn't reasonable at the time, then you're liable. If it wasn't reasonable at the time, right? Okay, and then if there's at all a conflict of interest, then it's kind of like instead of looking at it like reasonably, you kind of look at it with a magnifying glass, so to speak. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's a little bit more suspicious,
right?
Technically, it's also called you have a duty of business care, and then you have a duty of loyalties. Like he's supposed to be loyal to the Tesla shareholders, not to himself, right? Right. So that's why if there is a conflict of interest, it is looked at more suspiciously.
Of course.
All right. And that's what these shareholders are suing him for, all these billions of dollars. They're saying that suspiciously, why would you buy a company that's going bankrupt? Why would you buy a company with that much debt?
There's a bunch of solar companies. Why'd you buy
the one that you were invested in, right? Yeah. And your family was invested in the one that you co-founded, right? Maybe it was an ego thing. It's not like he, because he didn't find or found Tesla, but he did with SolarCity. Maybe it was an ego. Who knows, right? So that is the lawsuit. Now, Elon Musk, this is the years of litigation. He's saying that he recused himself from the board vote.
Okay.
Okay. And then he said that he recused himself and kind of, this whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. And that was his story.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the lawyers get involved. Then there's litigations. They did depositions. They did documents. It turned out they're saying, this is why he's going to go to trial. This is why Elon Musk going to get the case dismissed, is that he was involved in at least like the negotiating or the discussing or the influencing and encouraging, other shareholders.
They're like, I'm not going to be part of the vote, but I really think we should buy it.
Right. Yeah.
And you all work for me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the allegations. Exactly. Exactly. And that he should have disclosed more of that, and that he kind of, the board members, the way accounting is so weird. It's like accounting, you could make something look profitable when it's not, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so they're saying, without boring everybody, that they're saying that the way they were showing the accounting of Solar City to the shareholders was intentionally misleading.
Okay.
Maybe not Enron style misleading, but pretty misleading, So that's what they're saying. That one is a little tough because it was accounting could always be misleading.
Right.
One
thing that I think would be an interesting question/defense kind of thing for Tesla would be that, in my opinion, Tesla is the Elon Musk show, right? Like, you're not investing in a company, you're investing in Elon Musk when you're investing in Tesla.
Correct.
So like any decision he makes, it's like you should, I wonder if is there any legal standing with like the fact that, that he's such a public figure that is like a person who does these kinds of things, and you invest in that knowing these things is, you're investing in a company that's run by Elon Musk. Like, so you're investing in him more than like,
right.
What I'm saying?
So shareholders should know that he's going to do goofy things.
Yeah, that like, he just, that he's a personality and makes big decisions and just buys things and sells things and, like.
To date, that would not, I think, fly with a judge. So if Elon Musk, his defense is, hey, it was a stupid financial decision, but I'm Elon Musk and this is what they buy.
Yeah. It's like, he's like, well, I make a bunch of electric cars and I want there to be more electric, to be more solar and things. And I make batteries and I make all these things. So I believe that this would be a good addition to the futurism that is Elon Musk, right?
Yes. And that's, by the way, and man, you should be a defense attorney. You ever thought about that? Because that is the big defense for Elon Musk is exactly that. Well, the defense saying, if there was any encouragement by me, it's because it's a good company, Solar City, and it had a lot of potential, and there was a lot of synergy. Yeah, no pun intended, with Tesla, right? Solar City and Tesla having synergy in the sense that Solar City, it had a good customer base. Yeah, people that are interested in solar energy, right? I mean, why else would they build, solar panels on their house? So it had kind of an infrastructure, a customer list, and that there's this dream, and it's kind of coming to fruition, that's the solar roof.
Right.
Where in the future, like new homes, the roof would look exactly like it looks now, the shingles and whatnot, but it would be solar.
Right, of course.
That would be pretty cool.
There's also is it the Tesla... Like, it's the Tesla house battery one, like what's the one that goes on the wall?
The power wall, yes.
Power wall, there you go.
Right.
And so like, if he's putting Tesla batteries like from the cars into houses on the wall, you need a solar panel to power it. Like I could see how there would be synergy and there would be like,
that's the difference.
But again, there's probably multiple solar companies. So why buy the one that is insolvent?
Exactly. And maybe they could have, and this, man, if I could turn back time, 22 years and when I got out of law school, and here's some advice for young lawyers or people in law school. If you want to be super rich, go into securities litigation, okay? Because this lawsuit is worth billions of dollars. Of course. And these securities litigation lawsuit. And I don't know why I did not go into that out of law school. I wish I could go back in time. So, Because if the plaintiffs are right, they're going to get billions of dollars, and meaning the lawyers will get, like
a lot of money,
maybe a third of that.
Jeez.
A third of $1 billion is a heck of a good amount of money, right? And the defense attorneys get millions of dollars defending it. That's guaranteed money.
Yeah.
So anyhow, so the defense is that, well, there's some synergy. So even if we did overpay, it's worth it because now we have all these customers who have solar panels on their roofs, and now they can integrate it with what they're calling now the Tesla power. Now we could easily sell them the power walls or sell them Teslas, and they're. Do you see what I'm saying? So
we're creating an entire ecosystem, and that was the missing piece.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's why this lawsuit is awesome, and it takes so many years.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a very technical. So then they hire these accounting experts and marketing experts, and all these people have to fight. In fact, that's why some people ask me, how the heck does a trial last 3 months?
Right.
This is why. You have all these different marketing experts and accounting experts fighting over this.
Yeah. So what's the what? I mean, you might be getting to this again, but what's the standard for this, right? Is it, because it's obvious since it's civil, it's not beyond reasonable doubt, right? But is it basically just whether or not it's more likely than which one's more likely that he was?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's time for you to become a defense attorney, or you're talking to lawyers too much.
I talk to lawyers too much. I think that's what it is.
This came up one time in this Rudy Giuliani, he was kind of making a reference to, it's called the burden of proof.
Right.
Okay. In a civil case, ordinarily, it's what's called a preponderance of the evidence, is what you're saying, more likely than not.
Right.
So if my favorite way of explaining this is just in a football analogy, all you have to do is get beyond the 50-yard line. Yeah. And that's preponderance of the evidence. They don't have to prove what's called a beyond reasonable doubt. They just have to prove with a preponderance of the evidence.
Yeah.
Usually that's the standard in civil cases, that Elon Musk made a bad business decision.
Right.
At the time and reasonably it was a bad business decision. Okay. Then there's another standard. It's called clear and convincing evidence. That one I like to tell people, it's you have to get to the 80-yard line. I know, the 20-yard line of the other team.
Yeah.
So you have to go 80 yards from your goal line.
Yeah.
Okay. That one's a tough one. Ordinarily, that one is for a permanent restraining order.
Okay.
So if you file some sort of permanent restraining order, that's such a big deal, and it's almost like a criminal issue against the other person, because if they violate it, then
it's much closer to criminal than civil. It's that weird in between, which is
so
kind of why it's in between the different standards.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
So that one you better convince the judge, and ordinarily that only goes to a judge. It doesn't go to the jury. The restraining order.
Yeah.
It's what's called a matter of law. So that one's 80 yards. You have to get 80 yards. Then the toughest one is the beyond a reasonable doubt. That's the criminal one.
Yeah.
Okay. That one is getting a touchdown.
Right.
That one you have to prove the dude.
And
is
so
guilty.
Do they
beyond so you cannot have a reasonable doubt that he's not. Yeah.
Right.
So
and so if you could think any reason why it would have been something else, you probably shouldn't vote. Yeah. Okay. So is there is it the goal to prove that he had bad intentions with it? Is it his intentions to do it were misaligned? Is that because of is that what they're trying to prove?
Yes, that he made a bad business decision, and that it is especially suspicious because of the conflict of interest.
Right.
And that his own family, co-founded Solar City. And why would you spend, $2.5 billion on it, or $2.6 billion? Why would you spend that much money on this company? And it had debt, and it was about to go bankrupt. Maybe you just wait for it to go bankrupt and then buy it.
Yeah. Right.
Which you could have got it for a lot cheaper, billions of dollars cheaper. Maybe they could have wiped out the debt, for example, things like that. And so think about the law firm that's representing the plaintiffs. My God, if they just get a settlement for a $2 billion, if I'm not mistaken, which I'm pretty sure I'm not, the other board members already paid $60 million to settle this claim.
Interesting.
Yeah. If I'm wrong about that, I'll put it in the comments. Yeah. But that is what I recall. So there was a little bit of settlement. So that's pretty. What's the right word?
Are you allowed to use that as evidence?
Oh, look at you. That's probably not.
Okay.
Maybe.
That everyone
it depends what the agreement was, because the agreement was with the plaintiff. So I bet you that in the agreement, when they paid $60 million, they put in the agreement, we'll agree to pay this, but you cannot use this in a future
this is
lawsuit.
not an admission of,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So usually, that one is, admissibility issues of evidence. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. So they tried to get the lawsuit dismissed. And of course, Elon Musk says, like we said before, there's a synergy and then we got the customer base and there's all these like extra, it's like, and a lot of times companies will overpay for another company because of the synergy kind of idea.
It's more, the combined value is more than the sum of its parts.
Exactly.
Kind of thing. Like, so they might be worth 3 billion, but like us plus them equals that plus
X. Yeah. See, I think, you know what I think is unfair is when they buy a competitor, like the companies do that. They'll buy a competitor for more than they're worth, because the reason why it's worth more because they killed off the competitor.
Right. Which sounds anti-competitive, like by a rule, right?
Yeah. But for some reason, the federal antitrust allows it a lot of the times. But so okay, then we come to the Joe Samo prediction on this big lawsuit.
Yeah, I want to do the table roll this time.
All right. Joe Samo's prediction. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and predict that Elon Musk will spend or settle this case and pay a few $100 million to settle. That's going to be, that's my prediction. All right. What's today's date? It's March 23rd, 2022. Okay. So that's going to be the prediction. And then we're going to come back and then someone's going to say, wow, Joe Samo was way off.
Yeah.
He won the lawsuit.
Because here's the thing, is it like what he's actually going to do or what's the right answer? Because like Elon Musk is also, I feel like he might have a little ego and might ride it all the way out and then you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So even though that would be the correct thing to do, I'm wondering if like there,
Well, if he takes this to a trial, and if it's gonna be scary because he could lose, and it could lose, a couple billion, it could be a big deal. So that's why I think he'll settle. It would be shameful if there's a settlement for what's called an undisclosed amount.
Yeah, that would be a bummer.
That would be a bummer. Yeah. But I don't think that would happen because of a few reasons. One would be it's a publicly traded company. So it would have to be disclosed what they got from that lawsuit, and plus the shareholders themselves are going to get money from that. So it influences the shares. So I don't think it would be possible for it to be all right.
Exciting.
So that's so I'm going to guess 300 million. That's going to be the Joe Samo prediction settlement. Yeah, and he's going to get off cheap, because if he loses in a trial, it'll be a lot more. For sure. What I cannot for the life of me figure out though is, and Elon Musk would have a good argument if he says this. It wouldn't relate to this issue, but overall, Tesla market cap is over $1 trillion. How is it possible that Tesla, the market cap, is worth more than Ford, General Motors, Toyota, Mercedes? Combined. I don't get it.
Right. And so it's like literally like, you have to prove that I hurt the share of the stock. Well, we're worth 4 times more than Ford. Than GM,
Speaking of Ford, okay. Yeah. Ford the market cap is 66 billion, which compared to Tesla's 1.03 trillion, I calculated it. It's like more than 15 Ford companies.
That's you know what I mean? So it's like really hard. It would be
and
really
Ford has been around for like almost 100 years, I think, right? So, and this guy just bought.
You're like, how much do you think I lost you?
Yeah, exactly.
Shareholders of Tesla.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, how much? I mean, what do you think I lost you? Like, and what? Show me the damages.
But believe it or not, it's not a defense in that case that says, well, okay, I made. If it turns out that a trier of fact, like in a trial, it's determined that was a bad deal, or it was suspicious, or there was a conflict of interest, or a breach of the duty of loyalty, he can't use other good things he did to offset that case.
Right, of course. But like, what if he's saying like this is? I mean, the value now wouldn't be the same without this purchase. Like the fact that
that's what he. He would have to say that this was such a good purchase, and I was right, and it was a good, reasonable decision at the time
because look
it turned
what
out
happened.
so good.
Like here's, you want to see my evidence for it?
Yeah, here it is. Yeah.
15 Fords.
Yeah.
15 of them.
I know.
Ford didn't buy Solar City, and they're worth the 15th of us.
They're worth the 15th of us, yeah. And, by the way, General Motors is this is crazy when I read this. They're trying to come out with what the rumors that they think it's going to be the Tesla killer car.
Oh.
The car that's going to kill Tesla. It's an electronic Cadillac called the Lyric, or how do you pronounce Lyriq? Lyric,
like a lyric, like with a C, like a song, maybe.
Lyric. Does the Q Lyric? Change the?
I have no. It's not
like
a
when
word.
There's a
right?
Y at the end or an E at the end, right? Yeah.
Watch it be a word, and I'm just dumb.
No. I cannot imagine that as a word. Usually there has to be a U after Q. So anyway, so these companies, Ford with the electric Mustang and now the electric Cadillac, they're trying to bring down Elon Musk.
Yep.
What's your prediction on that one? Mr. Fox?
If I remember, didn't Tesla share all their patents and stuff? Like they just made them all. Like they just literally released all of them. It was like maybe 5 years ago or something like that. They just released all their patents. They're like, have fun. Like,
I would have to read that one.
It was something weird like that.
Let me follow up on that.
Because because you know what I mean? Like I think that a lot of these vehicles, Tesla's new tech is crazy. Like
yes.
500 plus range batteries on cars, like having a semi that's electric, all these kinds of things. But there are companies that are able to do that now. Like before Tesla, I remember these cars getting 40 miles on a charge. Like that was the standard. That was the Nissan Leaf and stuff like that. It was like 40 miles.
It's like I could take the kids to school.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And like, so you can never go on a road trip. You can never go on a vacation. You can never work out of town, have a business trip. Like if you had that car, you just can't. So I was like, it's just not really viable. But 500?
Oh,
you know what I mean? That makes it a viable vehicle. Like I can have a business work day in LA where I have to drive up to Los Angeles, and come back without charging.
And especially if it's in a proper place, you can even charge it there while you're at work.
Yeah.
A lot of places are equipped for that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Very interesting.
My prediction is this electric Cadillac is going to go nowhere.
I think so. I don't think Cadillac drivers and electric car drivers are the same people.
Yeah.
Maybe. So like,
oh my God. I just don't think it's going to go anywhere. I don't think anyone's going to be able to bring down Tesla. At least not anytime soon.
I don't think so. I mean, they got too much hype too. Like, it's like the Apple effect, right? It's it's too much hype.
It is too much hype. So
they also had I read an article that they were projecting Elon Musk was going to be worth over $1 trillion in 2024 was the article. So it's like only 2 years and they think he's going to be worth $1 trillion.
It's not impossible, I guess. If he owns almost a fourth of Tesla, okay. So then if Tesla's worth $1 trillion the market cap. So if it goes to 4 trillion, if it quadruples, then there it is right there.
There it is right there.
Yeah.
And I think, but also he had
other things.
SpaceX.
Oh yeah, SpaceX.
So he owns SpaceX.
And there's Neuralink.
Yeah, Neuralink. Because SpaceX is a completely privately owned company. It's not public.
That's correct. Yeah.
So he owns. So if they get a couple good government contracts to with NASA to do all their missions and stuff like that, it could be more worth more than Tesla.
Wow.
So I think that's what they're thinking is
and SpaceX did something that even NASA didn't do, which is when they get the rockets,
the reusable ones,
they're reusable. Yeah. It's like NASA didn't do that.
No.
Right? I mean,
it's just so that they can, and because that's a big cost is making those rockets. So if they can reuse it, then they don't have to rebuild it every time. It saves them $1 billion a flight or something like that.
So you're right. If they can get big government contracts, then who knows? It could be all right. Well, let's see if we can get an early investment on SpaceX. I'm sure we're not the only.
I have everyone I know is if I could, Tesla, but if I could invest in SpaceX, that's what I would invest in. All my friends are like that. They're like Tesla's overpriced, overvalued. I don't want to invest in that. But SpaceX.
And then you have lawyers like Joe Samo thinking, how can we sue Elon Musk?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Hey, speaking of lawsuits, I've had some calls over the week. Anyone that needs me has a question, just feel free to run it by my lawyer. Give me a call. My cell phone number is 619-672-1741. And we'll see you folks next week.
Sounds good.